So welcome to the second part of our ECU tuning guide. Again, I'm going to say this, maybe if you didn't watch the first video and are just skipping to this, I'm not responsible for any damages that you do to your ECU if you are not confident in tuning it. As I said, there are ways to let it be tuned by somebody else. I also offer tuning services, so you can hit me up on Instagram, or if you need to know any specific stuff, for example, for your build, I'm pretty confident in saying that I have a lot of experience in those things in general. But now for the video. We are today talking about the engine constant settings. So this is basically the setup that your engine needs to run. And this is pretty much one of the most important, if not the most important things to get right, because otherwise the engine will not start. Here it's also important to note if you have a base map that is for your engine or for your car, or if you have to create a base map for yourself, because if you have to create a base map for yourself, you have to research a lot of stuff also. I'm going to tell you in the video how to guess or how to know what stuff is which, but for some things you just might have to look in a manual or at the part number of your component that you installed, because not everything is going to be the OEM part that you are using or that the manufacturer is using in that car, so that could be different. Or maybe your wiring is just different. That's all things you have to consider, as I said, when building your engine or when redoing a wiring harness, for example, when installing a custom or programmable ECU. So the second part of the ECU tuning guide, and the last part we showed you how to create a tune or how to load a tune, and now we are going to get into the settings and what is needed to create a base map or to check if your base map is correctly set up for your vehicle. First thing to do, obviously, if you have not done so, check if your sensors are reading correctly, and if not, try to calibrate them correctly as I showed in the last video. And the next thing we're going to do is go into the settings menu and engine constants. This is pretty much any engine settings that you need for getting your engine started or for getting your engine correctly running. First of all, we have calculate required fuel. This is basically the size of your injectors that has to be calculated correctly. When you click on required fuel, you are able to put into the calculator everything that you have in your engine, or rather that your injectors are specified for. Obviously, first the units, you go for cc and cc per minutes. That's most of the time the units that have to be selected. In our case, when using a 1.8 Miata, we would use 1840 cc, as that is the displacement number of cylinders for, that's correct. Injector flow, if you're using a cc, then obviously put in the injector flow. In our case, the stock injectors of a Miata would be of a 1.8 NB would be 256 cc, but we are going to use 425 cc RX8 injectors for this example. Air-free ratio is 14:7. That's correct because that is lambda 1, and stoichiometric, which is 14.7 parts air to 1 part fuel. And then we click OK. We get the base reference pulse width of our injectors. We also are tasked to restart our ECU, but that is something we can do when we're done with these settings. Control algorithm, we have different things to select. Well, when using a car with one throttle body and not that big of a cam, you can use a map, which will be based on the manifold air pressure sensor, and the ECU calculates everything based off of that, TPS and RPM. You could also use TPS, which would be alpha N, or IMAP or external map sensor, which would be a combination of TPS and an external map sensor, for example, for cars that are using a ITB system, because on ITB systems, the value on idle or on very low loads is relatively tricky to program, because you are only going to pull a low vacuum, and then it is very difficult to tune idle and part throttle load. Squirts per engine cycle, that's 2, you can leave that at 2. Injector staging, this does not matter for sequential injection, which most modern cars have. This is also something, if you have paired injection, then you can set this to either alternating or simultaneous. This can depend on your setup. Alternating would be when the paired injection. On paired injection, for example, on a 4-cylinder car, 2 of the injectors would fire at the same time, which would be simultaneous, but you also can set it to alternate, so the injectors would fire in an alternating order. So that will, combined with a squirts per engine cycle 2, would be kind of similar to sequential injection. Better fuel economy and more power. But in most cases this isn't going to matter, as you are going to use sequential injection. Engine stroke, obviously most of the time it's going to be 4-stroke. You also can use 2-stroke if you're using a 2-stroke engine, but mostly 4-stroke probably. Number of cylinders is going to be, in our case, 4. Should be obvious what you have to select here depending on your engine. Injector port type is most of the times as well port injection. It could also be that it's throttle body injection, which would be in some older cars that only have 1 injector before the throttle body. Those were in very early electronically fuel injected cars, or conversions from carburetor to fuel injection that you would use throttle body injection, but then you only would have 1 injector, or depending on how many throttle bodies you have, multiple injectors, but that's not really that common. Engine type will almost always be even fire, although some 2-cylinder engines, for example, might happen to have odd fire if they do not fire in a perfectly alternating order. Or for example, if they are not firing in 180 degrees of crank rotation, but for example at, let's say, 270 and 360, for example, which would be odd fire. So not at 180 and 0 or 360 and 180, but at, for example, I think Harley Davidsons are configured like this. I'm not sure if that is correct, but I think this may be the case. Board layout is as standard UA4C. This is basically the Speeduino layout you're going to use, or rather the layout you're going to use generally. There are multiple layouts for different Speeduino units, for example. There is always also a DIY EFI Core 4 or UA4C. Then there is a 01 to 05 MX5 plug and play. This also depends on from what site you are going to buy. If you're, for example, going to buy from DIY EFI, this will probably be Core 4, but they also have UA4C boards. This is why we recommend that you download the base map from this site where you bought the ECU from, and that it is specified for that exact board you are buying. By stoichiometric ratio, I just told you about in rec fuel. This is basically the same thing. On petrol, that is 14.7. On E85, for example, that is a different value, and on diesel, for example, that is also different. So that also depends on what fuel you are running, but most of the time it's going to be 14.7. Injector layout, that also depends on your car. For example, on a Miata it is sequential injection, on an NA Miata it is semi-sequential, and for example on a 7M GTE Supra MK3 engine it is paired injection. This is also going to be important with the alternating or injector staging setting. It's only necessary for paired injection, so which injectors are going to fire at the same time. Obviously, in most cases, this is going to be 1 and 4 and 2 and 3. This also depends on your firing order, but is not going to be relevant for sequential injection. Map sampling method, that is something that can be important but does not have to be. On some ECUs, the event average setting will cause hesitations, or rather a bad throttle response. If that is the case, then set it to instantaneous and try it again. That happened to me on the low-cost racing solutions or RM electronics units. This would be the setting that fixes this. Map sample switching point, this could also be something that helps with that exact same thing, because below that RPM it is going to use instantaneous, and above that RPM it is going to use event average, because it is more precise at more RPM than instantaneous, and so you can select below 2500 RPM, for example, instantaneous. This makes the throttle response at lower RPM much better, and the higher RPMs aren't really affected by the bad throttle response if you have that problem. Then we can just click on burn, and yeah, then basically we are finished with the engine constants. The next thing will be the injector characteristics. This is not really that bad, or there's not really that much to care about. It is though important if you're running different injectors. You just have the injector duty limit, which is limiting how much percent the injector can be open. I would recommend to keep this at 90%. Do not set this at 100%, because an injector that is open 100% of the time can lead to either bad fueling, because it's just not precise, and it can also lead to a hanging injector, so that it hangs open or closed. So this can lead to all kinds of stuff that you don't want. Injector open time is the time it takes the injector to open. This is also referred to as dead time. This is in this ECU that is kind of set up weird, because you are using the injector open time and you are using 1.0 at 100 below here. Injector voltage correction is the second one you are going to have to look at for this value, and you have to look up your specific injector and select the open time for that, or the dead time for that. And you are going to use a basic value, or rather just use 1.0. That makes it much easier to set those values. And when you have the open time or the dead time table, you just go through the voltages and put in your correct dead time here. So for example, if you have at 16.9 volts, you have a dead time of only 0.8 milliseconds, you go and put in 80, because that's 80% of 1 millisecond, and then that would be the correct value. This is important to get the car running correctly, because if that is not put in correctly, or the injector time is specified way too large, that can lead to poor idle or just poor running conditions in general. The injector timing isn't really anything to worry about much, because that, yeah, as I said, does not matter much. You can just leave that alone. In most cases, you shouldn't have to deal with that. That's basically it for part 2. Because this is a relatively long part, I also have to say that you need part 3 for the basically enhanced engine basics, because there are some options like the trigger wheel and the spark that need to be adjusted sometimes if you don't have a proper base map. So I would suggest, before trying to start your car, also watch the other parts. Up to part 5 and 6, I think, should be doable until you can start your car.